Conversion rate optimization is all the rage today. And it's something that we do for clients in order to sell more from their website, increase the number of qualified leads that come in their business. And it's a powerful way that as a copywriter or a consultant, you can help clients reach the next level. Now, I take a different approach to conversion rate optimization, and because we offer this as a back-end service, because it does take technical elements, I want to make sure you understand this approach and can implement it in your own business. I'm Justin Hitt from Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips, and we're going to talk about my approach and why it is so superior to everybody else's. Now, first off, this approach to conversion rate optimization was developed in the IT world based on improving overall performance of business systems. So it is very business process oriented, and it looks at the high level of the business. So when I do business development consulting and we're optimizing multiple supply chains and we're optimizing multiple sales channels, I use this process rather than some of the gimmicks that are really available today. If you go search on the internet for conversion rate optimization, you're going to see a lot of the basics: improve your headlines and write more content, and a lot of just gimmicks, a lot of tools and things. But it neglects the fact of the matter is that the outcome that we're looking for is greater revenue in the business. See, I've helped clients in the past increase their sales. I've created more than, it's like $500 million in sales over the last 20 years for clients. Often these sales come from their multi-channel and increasing the transaction size, not necessarily some new things that they're doing. We can take what has worked in the past, optimize it to better implement, to more consistently implement, and then to measure to know what works and what doesn't, and then we can move forward from there. And that's why I start my conversion optimization not with the e-commerce platform, not with the CRM system, but with the business accounting system. Now, a lot of customers or prospective customers are uncomfortable with this. So I go into a consultation. They've paid me to do a consultation. I say, great, bring up your P&L. They're like, well, I don't have access to that. I'm like, well, why don't you? You're the owner of the company. Who, in addition to yourself, would make these decisions so that you can have access to a profit and loss statement in the business? First off, a lot of businesses don't have a profit and loss statement for the whole business, let alone for their product lines. And this is why the profit and loss is important. We don't want to promote products that are unprofitable. So if the client has a P&L, that's great. That's a positive sign. That means they can actually measure the profit and losses associated with the business in general. But it's even more valuable if they can pull up a specific keynote product. Now, what's a keynote product? There are usually 2 or 3 products that are the initial purchases that a customer will have with an organization. And that initial purchase is usually at a loss. So, for example, in my business, it's the paid consultation. I'm spending 2 or 3 hours going into a paid consultation to understand my client, their problem. I read the results of an assessment, and then I spend 15 to 20 minutes on the phone with them. And you're not really just paying for the 15 or 20 minutes on the phone. You're paying for years of experience and the work that went in up front. Do you really think all the work that goes in up front, all the work that goes in post-call is... My costs are higher than the consultation fee of $397. Now, the reason I charge $397 and I even credit that towards their first assignment within the first 12 months is because it is a mechanism to increase conversions, not necessarily because it makes me any money. But I can pull up a P&L and tell from a product perspective whether or not that initial consultation is profitable, and it is not. But the loss tells me how much it cost me to get a customer. See, and then that is useful information. It may not be profitable to do a paid consultation, but it is useful because it gives me information to tell me what's next. The what's next is specific service categories, which a P&L on each of those service categories tells me that there are seasonal variations between each category, but they produce a certain amount of profit, which altogether rolls up into the main P&L, profit and loss statement, and I know whether or not I'm on track. So what it gives me is which products are more profitable And how does a customer come to buy those products and services? Very rarely will a new person off the street come and engage me for a $35,000 contract or a $90,000 contract. That just doesn't happen because they don't have enough knowledge to know whether or not that I can deliver the results. Now, they can read my books, they can listen to the podcast, they can implement some of the free information that I give out, and then use the consultation to get nuances. But ultimately, the loss leader or initial offer almost always is a paid consultation. Now, it could also be a course because we're going to optimize their conversion by increasing their profitability. It could be a course. It could be a membership. It could be part of a group coaching. So I went from one channel that's the initial sale to 4 channels to the initial sale, and each of those drive the back end service offerings. And now I can tell during which part of the year are these elements profitable, for which audience segment are they profitable, and then which ones drive to overall conversion and the best customer lifetime value. See, if I don't know these things, then it doesn't matter how many more people we convert on a website. It doesn't matter how many more sales they get from a website. The company's not profitable. And if the company's not profitable and they're not selling profitable products, then how in the hell are they going to increase the ultimate goals of the business, which are to have and operate a profitable business? So again, I always start with the accounting system. It's a business development approach because we could find out that the company is not profitable at all, and by no means are they going to sell a $25 product and become profitable. That math, a lot of people just fail to do. Now, I understand the conversion rate optimization marketplace on the internet is usually selling tools, they're usually selling analytics services, and they're usually selling like pay-per-click campaigns. So the pay-per-click industry incentivizes these people to go out and sell more pay-per-click. And if somebody has a $5,000 a month budget or a $10,000 a month budget, we just assume that they're selling profitable products. But again, the difference between writing someone's next sales letter or writing somebody's lead generation piece is knowing how they make money and then concentrating those services on writing better packages to make money. So let's say a company has a 7-figure service. So for example, an oil refinery, a company that builds oil refineries or does service contracts on oil refineries has a 7-figure service. They may be using branding, they may be using awareness, they may be going to trade shows to bring people into their sales funnel. Now, if I measure the branding, it is no longer branding. It has to become lead generation, okay? Because measuring of branding is usually done by ad agencies by just simply calling around and seeing. I don't know if you see those ads on YouTube, but which of these companies do you recognize? Those are brand verification surveys. That doesn't tell you that there's a buyer that recognizes your company. Like BP Oil, for example, is advertising their brand not to get customers, but instead to have pressure on in the lobbying area, to have audience recognition when they have lawsuits and when they have reputational risk issues. But the salespeople they put on to go find companies to either serve them or to purchase their raw product, that's all done by the telephone. It's all done by direct mail. It's all done by attending trade shows and events. If we don't understand what the branding is doing, that P&L comes up on the branding, sees that there's a lot of money put into lobbying, there's a lot of money put into image advertising, there's a lot of money put into these other things. If the ego of the decision makers wasn't there because they want to work for a reputable, well-known company, then you'd have to cut that. So we have to, for each segment of marketing, you have to know what works and what doesn't. What is its goals and objectives? How does it function in the larger ecosystem? And how does it contribute to sales? Branding does not contribute to sales in any form other than giving confidence to individuals that have no other means of measuring your value. And so the next company that comes along that has a quote better brand or whatever, they're supporting whatever thing of the week, you're gonna lose customers to them. Now, when we're looking at trade shows and events, we're looking at your technical sales funnel. Your ability to help customers solve problems is more valuable because it builds relationships. However, it's very expensive. And so you can't justify it unless you have a high back end. So it's easier to sell something that's $1 million, it's $7 million, because you can go find the people who can afford it, the people who can make decisions about it, and then you can structure selling tools for those individuals, and we can measure all that. But again, if that $7 million implementation costs you $20 million and you're relying on government subsidies to make that happen, so in the oil industry, a lot of refineries are subsidized, then you've got to have a complete set of connections. So selling more $7 million deals doesn't make the company more profitable if you don't have the political support to get the credits and the tax incentives to build the company. Now, when we're talking about the typical customer, which is products and services, let's say somebody's selling T-shirts, for example. The best price you can get for a T-shirt is going to leave you with a net of about $10. And so a customer who buys one T-shirt is not a very good customer because it may cost you $20 just to get the person there through paid advertising. And so we have to look at other areas of the business. What are these customers going to buy in addition to T-shirts? What is the next thing? And so very often a T-shirt sale has revenue generation on the list rental or the secondary sale. So we get the customer to buy the first T-shirt. Maybe I bought a couple of these T-shirts that have like funny political sayings on them or funny scenarios. So I have a Space Force T-shirt that's kind of cool. I thought the concept of Space Force was unique and interesting, so I got a Space Force T-shirt. I also got a T-shirt that has a dick pic on it, which is literally Richard Nixon, and it says dick pic under it. So I think it's it's kind of a dad T-shirt. But the point of it is that T-shirt sale probably net them $20 if they're lucky on the product sale. So cost of goods taken away from the total transaction. However, to get me to buy that T-shirt, they had to have search marketing. They had to have a website that could, present the T-shirts in a presentable way. They had to have the e-commerce in place. And so they probably made $0 on that T-shirt. So how can you make money with $0 on a T-shirt? Well, the postcards I got, the other offers, the coupons, the cross-sells led me to buy additional T-shirts, which now they can get closer to break even. You've got to know this stuff. So again, I start with the accounting system. I start with their ability to measure profits. I start with products that have profits. Then we move to how do we increase the sales. Okay, so that's when we start looking at the sales letters, the presentation, the layouts. Then we have a cost per sale because we know our numbers are working. And how do we improve the cost per sale? Well, we move people from public media or paid media to in-house media, which again is lead generation. So that's where we take our next focus. We go from the accounting system to the selling system to the lead generation system. And now the interaction between leads and sales starts being able to feed sales of profitable products, which generates additional revenue, which helps you produce more leads, which helps you grow the overall business. And then we focus on the website itself. So do you see how this works? Now, from the accounting system, we condition the customer to actually be accountable for what goes out and what comes in. From the sales system, we actually start measuring conversions and can start building out audience segmentation. From the lead generation, we know where we can find more customers that are similar to our buyers. And then from the website, we primarily improve navigation and improve how the overall analytics works and the cookie tracking and the similar audience tracking to overall build the supporting structure around the ecosystem. If we were looking at a house, the accounting is the foundation, the sales are the walls, the leads are the roof, and then the website is the cosmetics around that structure. If the foundation is poor, the building will fall. If the walls are unstable, the roof will collapse. If there's no roof, then the walls and the other stuff will start to degrade, so that inbound lead flow. And then finally, the cosmetics is what sells the house. It's not what builds the house. So I hope this has been useful to you. It is contrary to what everybody else is doing. But then again, if you do what everybody else is doing, you'll just be average. I don't want average for you. I want you to have a multi-million-dollar agency with just a few people in the office, with you leading the helm, doing the copywriting that you enjoy, understanding the conversion rates of your copy through actual, real, tangible measures, and then ultimately serving your customers in a way to build those relationships so that you can use copy that sells, so that you can use the communications more effectively and actually know that they're effective. I'm Justin Hitt with Ad Briefing's Copywriting Tips. Like always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns, visit us at www.adbriefings.co.uk. Ask those questions. Share your comments with me. The podcast syndicates on maybe 32 different channels, so I don't always get to see the comments. I want to make sure you get your questions answered. Again, I want to make sure that you understand these structures and systems so that you can know your copy's working, and so that you can understand headline tests and accountability and actually create real profits for customers. One of the ways I've created $500 million for customers is, again, customers who sell high ticket services. It's easier to, if you make a $25 million sale, it's easier to get to $100 million in results. But ultimately, the metrics, working with accounting teams, understanding what the numbers mean, translating those numbers into sales funnels, translating those sales funnels into lead funnels that feed the sales funnels, and then ultimately not getting distracted by the shiny objects. That's how you get results. So if you have questions about that, if you want to go over a specific implementation for your organization, if you'd like to hire my team for the technical elements of this, you take care of the creative, my team will take care of the technical elements, then visit www.adbriefings.co.uk. Ask for that interaction, and we'll set up a quick strategy call to help you get measurable results. Ad Briefings is about you getting measurable results with words that sell, with the business of copywriting, and then ultimately to syndicate this best practice into passive income that you receive. Rather than being a freelance copywriter chasing jobs, you'll now have agency to create work for you and to create results without being bogged down with a lot of these distractions. Frankly, we eliminate distractions. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.